Hi, my name is Sonia with Cake My Day Bakery SD. Just decided to do something in my spare time once all the kids were off to school. My husband bought me a cake decorating set for Christmas and I'm like, what the heck, why not? So right now I'm specializing in cupcakes of all different varieties and flavors. So I found this new recipe on Facebook of all places, and so I figured we would go ahead and try it today. So it's actually a carrot cake, but we're gonna do it in cupcake form. So I cut 3 carrots, 3 smaller carrots, and just cut them up into little rounds. And then we're gonna add 3 eggs to that. I'm always worried about getting shells in here. And there one went, of course. We'll get that out though. Wipe the egg juice off my hands. So then what we'll do is we're gonna put that in the blender. Way. And then what we're going to do is I am going to measure out the milk and the vegetable oil. I like to measure in metric, so grams, milliliters, you name it, just because it's a little bit more accurate that I have found. So I'm going to change my scale to milliliters, and we're going to do 237 milliliters, of milk.
And what kind of milk are you using?
I use whole milk because it's a little bit thicker and it has a little bit more flavor. And then we'll just dump that right in here. And then we're going to do the same thing with the vegetable oil. I hope I brought enough oil over here. 237 milliliters. Just barely. And then we'll dump that right in with it. And then I'm going to use this bowl that had the eggs sitting in it. And I'm going to change my scale to grams because I'm going to put 200 grams of sugar.
And that didn't have the raw egg in it, it just had the eggs that were in the shell?
Yep.
Okay.
There we go. And what I do is I usually will go to get the big bags, the 20-pound bags of flour and sugar, and then I just dump it into a 5-gallon bucket. Makes it a lot easier. So we're going to measure out 200 grams. For those of you that do standard, it's 1 cup. There we go.
Wee bit of a perfectionist, but you gotta be, huh?
Yeah, I noticed that you can kind of change it up a little bit. A lot of times I will add an extra egg just for a little bit more moistness. Or if the recipe calls for butter, I'll add a couple of tablespoons extra. So now we're going to see if my blender works today. We're just going to blend this up until it's smooth. And I don't know if you'll want to move over there. Make sure that's the right consistency. Oh yeah, it's kind of smooth. There's still a few chunks in there, but I like a little bit of texture in my carrot cake, so it doesn't bother me. So then I have a bowl ready to go. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna dump this mixture right into the bowl. Oh, that looks so delicious already. I could drink that as a soup. Okay, move that off to the side. And then we're gonna take that same bowl that I measured the sugar with. Wipe that out. And then, again, those that do standard, we're gonna do 1 cup of flour. Oh.
You get a workout with all the flour.
Oh, yes, you do. But I'm gonna measure out 120 grams.
I suppose a very important detail is always resetting the scale, right?
Yes. Or if you use, because I tear it out, if you use 2 different types of bowls that weigh different, you want to make sure that you zero the scale out so that it's accurate. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my flour and put it in my sieve and just kind of sift that in.
What's the purpose of sifting it?
It's just to get any clumps out. Makes the batter a little bit smoother. If you have any chunks in here, you can just use the back of your spatula. Alright, there we go. And then we're going to go ahead and give that a whisk. And it's important not to overmix it, because if you overmix it once the flour is in it, it can become very glutinous, and then that's what will dry it out. So you want to mix it just until the flour is all incorporated. And it looks like my batter might be a little bit on the wet side, so I might just add about 10 or 15 grams more of flour. Again, this is my first time using this recipe, so I guess my taste tester will tell me if it's good or not. So we're doing another 20 grams. Again, put that through the sieve. That looks a little bit better. And sometimes with baking, they say that you have to follow a recipe directly to the T, but sometimes you have to, you know, kind of give or take a little bit.
Can we see like the inside of the bowl and the consistency there? Just, nope, you're fine, just tip it up. Or,
well, if I tip it up, it's gonna
I
spill
suppose
out.
it's pretty close.
When I put the batter into my cupcake tins, you'll kind of see what the consistency is.
Oh, okay.
So then at this point, we're gonna add 1 tablespoon of baking powder. Now, the reasoning behind the baking powder is the baking powder is what is going to give the cupcakes their rise. Just kind of whisk that in.
Otherwise, you're just gonna have like a
Otherwise,
flat.
it'll just be flat cupcakes.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, there's nothing wrong with a flat cupcake.
But then it becomes like a cookie, right? Or no?
Well, it wouldn't be as flat as a cookie, but...
See, this is why she's the baker and I'm not.
Alright, so I got that all incorporated. So, when I make carrot cake, I like a little texture in there, like I said. So, I like little shreds of carrots in mine. So what I did differently with this recipe is I shredded up about 4 carrots and then I patted them dry with a paper towel just to get all the excess liquid out so that way it doesn't liquefy my batter. Oh, that looks delicious. Alright. Move that out of the way. So, based on your batter, you can either use like a measuring cup to just pour it into the cupcake tins, or I use a cookie scooper if it's a little bit of a thicker batter. This one's pretty thin, so we're just gonna go ahead and pour it into the measuring cup and pour it in. Sometimes that way it's less messy. But I say, what's the fun of baking if you can't make a mess, right?
So what's the difference with, you know, the liners and or not? Some people like inexperienced.
So right. So what I do is, if I'm just making them, you know, for my kids, husband, family, you would be okay not to put them in the liner. Couple of reasons that, like, if you're selling them or, you know, baking them for other people, like I make cupcakes a lot and take to my coworkers at work, and at least on a weekly basis they're like, when are you bringing more cupcakes? So we got a consensus going, and so we're gonna take cupcakes to work again next week, and they're really good about giving me honest feedback. And so the next flavor I'm doing for work will be a strawberry lemonade. It's one of my coworkers' favorites.
Oh my.
So I have a pan here that has 24 muffin tins, muffin holders. Back to the why you use the liners versus no liners is, when you're handling them, it's a little bit more sanitary, and that way people can, you know, kind of pick them up as they want. Because some people, they'll just tear off part of the liner and eat it and then tear off as they go. Some people, they just, like my husband for instance, just takes the liner all the way off and just
devours it.
Exactly. So I'm going to give these a little bit of a spray. I have tried it both ways, and I found that the cupcakes release from the liners a little bit easier if you spray them a little bit. So we're going to try to do this here without spilling. And then what I do is I'll usually fill it about half full just so that it's easier to contain. And then what I do is I'll fill it about 2/3 of the way full. Because then that'll give it time and room to kind of rise.
So have you ever had a situation where like you ended up putting too much? Like what can happen? How?
If you put too much, it can, because of that baking powder in there, the rising agent, it could completely overflow, and then it'll go all over your muffin tin. Oh, this one's going to have a lot of shredded carrots. I think that one's going to be mine.
She likes rabbits and carrots.
And my rabbits like carrots too.
Yep.
And then before we started, I did preset the oven to 350 degrees. That seems to be about standard. Oh, that one got a little bit full, so I think we'll find out what'll happen if you get them too full.
Right.
Now, the recipe that I seen was just a regular carrot cake. So it was saying to put it in the oven for 40 minutes. Well, since I'm making cupcakes, you kind of have to adjust the time a little bit, because I do minis and I do the standard size.
And these are the standards you're doing?
And these are the standard size. And so you have to, obviously the minis will cook quicker than the standard. So what you have to do is you kind of have to, I learned that I was over baking my mini cupcakes. The recipes would say to bake them for 18 to 20 minutes. I would bake them for 18 and it would kind of come out a little dry. So then I made cupcakes for my husband's coworkers last week. And I'm like, you know what? Let me just adjust the time here. So I put them in, set the timer for 18 minutes, but I checked it after 15. And 15 minutes was perfect. Okay.
Yeah, all 90 of those cupcakes were gone in like an hour. It's crazy.
All right. So this batter made 22 cupcakes. So I'm just going to take these two liners out and I'm going to move this to my oven. I'm going to probably set it for about 18 minutes, kind of check it from there. One tip is once you put them in, you don't really want to open the oven door, because then the heat will escape and then either they won't rise properly. I've had where I make birthday cupcakes and the centers fall in because the oven got open. So I don't open my oven, I just turn my oven light on and kind of keep an eye on them. If I think that they look like they're pretty close to being done, I'll open it and check it with a toothpick.
Go.
Okay, so it's been about 18 minutes, so we're gonna kind of check them at this point. What I do is I just take a toothpick. Oh, those are nice and orange. And you just stick it right down the center. If it comes out clean, usually indicates that it's done. And that looks pretty clear to me. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these out now.
And go.
Okay, we're going to sit them right over here just to cool off. So while those are cooling, what we're going to do is we're going to make the cream cheese frosting. Because, you know, all carrot cake and cupcakes, cream cheese frosting goes the best with them. This one I do not have my recipe memorized, so I do apologize. I will have my phone with me to look at the recipe.
It's always good to reference back.
It is. Let me find my vanilla extract. My husband was so nice and gave me one little spot in my tiny dining room for my baking stuff.
I'd show you it, but it's fairly large and it's got her kind of organization, which is very good. She knows where her stuff is.
Oh, there's the 18-minute timer. So it was about 17 minutes that I had it in there.
And what do you got in there again? Is that the butter?
So what I did while the cupcakes were baking is I took 1 cup of butter and I started whipping that. And kind of what you want to look for to make a smoother buttercream, I use the whisk attachment just because it adds more air. But you want to whisk it until it's about, it will start to turn white. You might have to scrape down the bowl a couple of times just so that it all gets incorporated. And that way when you go to frost your cupcakes, you don't have one part that tastes like butter and one part that tastes like cream cheese.
All blended together.
So I just use the Gemini on my phone to convert it from standard to metric, in case some of my recipes will automatically show metric. Sometimes I have to convert it.
If only you had somebody that would be willing to create an app for you that could get that.
It's in the works.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of powdered sugar. So I did this for about 5 minutes. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in my cream cheese. And you want to make sure everything's at room temperature just so that it mixes a little bit easier. And this I'm going to add in 1 block at a time. It calls for 16 ounces, so 2 blocks.
So some people might use off-brand. I see you're using Philadelphia.
The brand doesn't really matter. It all depends on what you like and your taste. One thing I will say when it comes to frosting though, when you use the cream cheese, you do want to use the full fat. If you use a fat-free, and I learned this off of another video. If you use the fat-free or the low-fat cream cheese, it's got more water content. So then what it's going to do is make your frosting a little bit more watery, and it won't hold up to the piping as well.
Nice tip.
All right, so we're gonna get this started. Just mix that until it's incorporated. Oh, it's looking good. And then we're gonna add the other block. Before I add it in there though, I will scrape the bowl down again, just so that, again, it all gets mixed evenly.
Cue the whip it good song, huh?
Except I'm using a whisk, so I think it would be whisk it good.
Oh, that would be right. Yeah, yeah.
Other cream cheese. One thing I have noticed when you mix the butter and the cream cheese, sometimes it'll look like it's separating a little bit, but that's completely all right because it'll all come together when you add in your powdered sugar. So the powdered sugar, we need 8 cups. Yes, 8. Now I am doing a double batch of the frosting just because there is, almost 2 dozen cupcakes. So when that's converted into grams, we're going to do 960 grams. And I do make my own powdered sugar. It is so much cheaper. You just take regular sugar and you can put it in like a high-powered blender, food processor, whatever you prefer. And for every 1 cup of granulated sugar, you want to add in 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. And then you just mix it until it gets to a fine powder. And what I like to do so I don't make quite a mess is I put the lid underneath of it. I'm still making a mess.
Hey, that's all right. That's part of baking. You don't have any flour on your face, though.
Well, that's all right.
I think we're gonna have to fix that later.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with 400 grams, just because you don't have to sift it, but I do just because as it sits, it does, you know, depending on how humid it is in your area, it does clump up. And you want to do it in stages anyway, because otherwise what's going to happen is you turn on your blender or your mixer and it's going to go everywhere. I had powdered sugar and butter all up my kitchen wall.
Well, I'm glad there's no sarcasm with this video, though. I just realized you have your sarcasm shirt on.
Oh, yes. In my house, I do serve fresh sarcasm daily.
And cupcakes.
Well, cupcakes, I wish I could do it daily, but unfortunately, to help pay bills, I do have to have a full-time job.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna get this started. Move that out of my way. Now, when you first start this up, you do want to start it out low. Sometimes I'll just pulse it until that powdered sugar is coated.
What does that help do?
It just helps so that the powdered sugar doesn't go flying. As you can see now, it's starting to get a lot smoother. It doesn't look like it's breaking.
Can I see that one more time when you get done mixing a little? Nice.
So then we'll do the other, what did I say? 960, so I need another 460 grams. Math wasn't my strong suit. And then I get powdered sugar, so I can't see how many grams I'm at. And this scale, you can really find them anywhere. Walmart, Hobby Lobby. I got this one from an actual baking store, and they do range anywhere from, you can get them for $10 or $15 all the way up to hundreds of dollars. This specific one, it's a glass one. Was a little bit on the spendier side, but works much better than my last one did. And as you can see, sometimes the powdered sugar likes to stick and not like to pour out.
Takes a lot of time to do all this, huh?
It does.
So what kind of enjoyment do you kind of get out of this? Like making the cupcakes besides, you know, the obvious?
Well, back when I got married, almost 27 years ago, somebody told me the quickest way to a man's heart is through his stomach. And it only took me 26 years to figure out that apparently you like cupcakes.
Just a little bit.
All right. So then we're going to mix this again. As you can see that smoke of powdered sugar coming out.
Could be way worse though.
It could be all over the walls. Oh yeah, now that's a good consistency, especially when you're piping it. If you're just frosting a cake, you can get by.
Oh,
You wanna make
nice.
sure
I
it's a
gotta see
little-
that. Yeah, that's very nice and creamy and blended, right?
Right. And when you're piping, you want to make sure that it's a little bit thicker so that the piping holds up and it's not gonna fall over.
That helps making it a little bit more decorative, I suppose, huh?
And if you find, if you are piping and you find that it's too soft, you can either add more powdered sugar or you can do a couple of tablespoons. Some people do whole milk. I do heavy cream. Now it does say 2 teaspoons of vanilla, but I don't typically measure.
That's a sign when somebody's been doing this enough.
Give that one last mix. Perfect. And then at this stage, if you wanted to, and it's so creamy and silky smooth. At this point, if you want to color, you can put your gel food coloring in. We're gonna just leave this white.
Do you need any help for a minute?
Yeah, if you want to come and help take these. Now, these cupcakes did fall a little bit, but
Well, I'll come help you real quick.
all right, we're back. Cupcakes are done. They did fall just a little bit, but that's okay. We did have to put them in for about 4 or 5 more minutes. They weren't quite done in the middle. So now they are cooled down enough that we're going to go ahead and frost them. So we're going to take...
Who's this kid?
Oh, I'm sorry. This is Nate. Oh, you
Yeah, he's
must have been outside playing all sweaty.
Ew!
He's my 13-year-old. Behave. He's going to be my taste tester tonight.
Got jingle jangle in your pocket, huh?
Yeah, because I'm richer than you.
So, what I did is I took my piping bag and I fitted it with, it looks like this one is number 336. It's more of like a closed star. Pretty good for making like little rosette flowers. And I just put it inside of a cup. It just makes it easier to fill the frosting, especially when the frosting's a little bit on the thicker side. So,
Is that a pro tip or what?
well, I just found that it was easier. I did watch some videos that said, don't ever do that if you're a professional chef in
Like
the
me,
kitchen
Like me.
because the chef will kick you out of their kitchen.
Yes.
Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. So if we
It
have
is.
any
It is.
professional chefs on watching, let me know.
Yeah.
So
I know.
I don't put too awful much in here just because it's easier to handle when it's not like a completely full. So then you just kind of squeeze. What I like to do is squeeze it in so that it gets kind of the air bubbles out. So we're gonna move that. So then what we're gonna do is just pipe it on here. And then it makes like a little rosette. Show that again. And there are different ways that you can do it. You can kind of just push down and then it just kind of makes a flower. So then it looks like you've got like a bouquet of flowers. Now this would look really cool if you had like multiple colors. Or what you can do is when you squeeze and then you turn and then it kind of rotates those petals a little bit and then you can just kind of go around the outside. Just kind of whatever you want to do. All right, we're going to do this one and we're going to let Nate taste it. He's going to be my taste tester today. All right, so we'll set that off to the side. Boy, you got a big mouth like your dad.
Is that good?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my word.
Now, that's the perfect way to get your kids to eat vegetables. If they don't like vegetables, you just hide your carrots or whatever in a cupcake and...
You know I like vegetables.
That's nice.
All right, so now we got them all frosted, so we're gonna go ahead and put them in our cupcake container. And this is kind of just however you like to do it. Some people will put them in before they frost them. Some people will frost them and then put them in. It's just kind of like a personal preference.
And who are these going to?
So these ones I think I might take to my sister.
Nice. Because normally, like, if somebody has ordered, we put, like, a label, or what do we do?
Yep, we're in the works of getting a label made. Alright. And these containers, you can get them fairly inexpensive at Walmart, Hobby Lobby. We personally bought these on Amazon because we buy them more in bulk. And so it was a little bit cheaper.
Now, with cottage law, since you're a home base, you can't ship these, right?
I don't think so. Because there are certain laws that we have to follow. Nice thing is I'm already ServSafe certified. So that's kind of one of the prerequisites. It's not a requirement. They just prefer, so that way you kind of know about food safety and what can be left at room temperature, what has to be refrigerated and stuff like that. So then this is all ready to go.
That looks yummy. Sweet. Hey, y'all, bonus footage here.
No.
This is
No.
ridiculous. I was trying to get her to do some flower stuff, you know, and have some fun. We got to have some fun, right?
No.
But she's a sucker. She doesn't want to get flour and sugar. I was going to do like a whole sugar, like sweet, throw it and just make it look like a big old bakery. But she didn't like it, so I need you guys to just give a big thumbs up and a subscribe on this. And let us know in the comments on the next video, what do you want them to know in the next video, for the next video?
Just kind of leave a comment if there's any special kind of cupcake that you're wanting me to try to make. I'm willing to try any new recipes, so if I haven't made it before, you know, I'm definitely willing to give it a try.
Awesome. All right, well, you guys make sure that you like and subscribe and share. That's the main thing. Share on all the social media platforms. She's on Instagram. She's also Facebook, as well as YouTube, obviously. So you guys have a great day. God bless, stay safe, and we will catch you. Well, I don't know. She might take this whole thing over, and I might be done. I might get fired and become the new taste tester. That's about, well, at least that's what I hope I can become. I mean, Nate might have that, our son, might end up having that for life. Guaranteed. But I think the main thing is that she really just loves doing this for people. And we're going to try and figure out how to get this into a full-fledged business, you know, and maybe we'll catch you at some farmers markets. You never know, right?
Right.
All right. God bless.